Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie. This video, I'm not really going to talk about CDs. This is basically a response video to my pal Matthew Street, who responded to CalicoSilver's video. But before I start talking, subscribe to both Matthew Street and CalicoSilver, and I'll put the links in the description below. But basically, the subject of their videos was the death of nostalgia. Now, I am an extremely nostalgic person. I process things emotionally, music, movies, even colors and sights and smells, and these all get sort of stored in my brain and compartmentalized to the point where I don't think about them, but then all of a sudden, something triggers those memories, something triggers that nostalgia. But when I talk about nostalgia, I'm talking about a memory that's wrapped in emotion. I've said before in videos that, every memory that I have of a song or a person or an event, that memory, I wrap an emotion around it and let it go, sort of like a balloon with a string on it. And then when that memory comes back to me, it brings back the emotion. And sometimes there are things like songs, like movies, that I tie several emotions to. So I could hear a song and it will remind me of hanging out with some really cool people in 1982, but also driving down PCH in 1997 and also spending time with family in 2015. But it's strange. I can't always just access that emotion, that nostalgic feeling. See, I cannot control my nostalgic feelings. I don't think that nostalgia is something you can control. I think as you get older, you become less nostalgic for certain things, or maybe, you've had so many great things happen in your life that, the old ones get pushed aside. But I think there's always going to be a time when it's going to hit you right out of the blue. You can hear, for example, The Police wrapped around your finger. Boy, when I first heard that song, I loved it. It reminds me of hanging out with friends. Then for like 30 years, I couldn't stand the song. Didn't want to listen to it, didn't want to hear it. I didn't have any emotion to it. But one day, all of a sudden, bingo, that nostalgic feeling came back. And ever since then, I've attached more memories to that song and then let it go off into the ether, off into the universe. I have a few music shows on Mixcloud that are based on nostalgic feelings. Return of the Living 80s is based on these feelings that I had from a young teenager to someone in their early 20s. All these memories, all these things that happen, all these people I meet, all these experiences, they're all there, emotions wrapped around them, out in the universe. I don't think about them until something reminds me, and then it comes flooding back, and I'm remembering things. I'm feeling things. And I think that there's different kinds of nostalgia too. So like, let's say, for example, The Jam, one of my favorite bands of all time. I got into them in 1978, and oh boy, and nobody I knew at the time was listening to The Jam, and they were kind of like my thing. I'd buy all the new singles that came out. I know tons of other people were into them, but not my friends at that time. So I have very nostalgic feelings about those, but they're very different than if, you throw on the song Situation by Yazoo, which reminds me of my friends from that period. That's kind of what I consider communal emotion, communal nostalgia. It reminds me of events, certain things that happen, certain feelings, great people, great times, innocence, so much charm to that. But me sitting alone under the headphones after school, listening to The Jam or listening to The Clash, completely different types of nostalgia. I mean, nostalgia is very, very important to me. Even This Is Ski Lodge, which is another one of my Mixcloud shows, and I have a show on Tuesday nights on YouTube where I play those episodes and a lot of people gather. And this is stuff from like the late 60s, early 70s. This really reminds me of a time growing up. It reminds me of my family, my siblings, mom, dad, cousins, uncles, aunts, grandma, grandpa, all these people, because it's a very important time in my life. Now, do I believe in the death of nostalgia? I believe it's just really going to be a person-to-person thing. It's odd that I do have nostalgic feelings for physical things. I mean, you can see in the background, I've got some comic books on the wall, or there's albums on the wall. Of course, there's always Elvis. There's a memory wrapped into all of those. Sometimes it's just a memory, but sometimes it's a nostalgic feeling. See, I think the most important things in your life, you're going to feel nostalgic about. You're going to remember your mom or your dad if they've passed on, or your grandparents, or, any of the loved ones that are no longer with you. You're going to remember your innocence. You're going to remember all those great people in high school. I mean, I don't have any nostalgic feelings about working at Jack in the Box. That was my first job in 1979. No nostalgic feelings about working there whatsoever. I can pass by Jack in the Box and I don't even give it a second thought. But I do remember the people, and that's what's really important. It's how the people made me feel, how that experience made me feel. Now, obviously, my nostalgia is not wrapped in negative things. I mean, trust me, I have a tortured soul, but I keep it repressed by remembering all these wonderful things that happened in my life, all these great people. So to me, nostalgia is really a part of each day. Now, I don't live in the past. That's a different thing. I don't sit there and go, oh, I wish it was 1982 again. No. But I live with these great feelings that they gave me, and that allows me to move forward. It gives me strength to move forward, even when the world pisses me off, even when there seems no hope. The feelings that I get from nostalgia keeps me moving forward. I think nostalgia is really, really wonderful, but I understand people letting things go. I used to be more nostalgic about physical things, but it's really kind of music and you know, even the smells of something cooking or the birds chirping outside. Those will remind me of great times with these wonderful people. And nostalgia is where all of the great feelings and all these wonderful people live. So in the end, for me, nostalgia, very important. It allows me to remember that passion and that feeling and that joy and that love and that positive spirit. So to me, nostalgia is A-okay. It's not dead. But you know what? Ask me a week from now, a year from now, and it might be a different story. I might give you a different answer, because we as people, we're always evolving, always changing. Things that used to be important or things that are important now may no longer be important in the future. And I'm prepared for that. But right now, I love to experience those great, warm, wonderful feelings that we all get. And it gives me something to share with everybody else when times are real shitty. That's my thought. I appreciate Matthew and CalicoSilver for posting their videos. Let me know what you think of nostalgia. Let me know if you love the feeling it gives you or if you've lost that love and feeling. Anyway, that's it for me. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, to ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.